New Directions for Women presents From Addiction to Recovery, Inspirational Stories of Courage.
Hi, my name's Tara. I'm an alcoholic. I first started experimenting with drugs in high school. It was alcohol, then marijuana. And then when I was a little older, I started using amphetamines, stimulants, to help me lose weight, like over-the-counter Xenadrines. And then they outlawed that. And so I started ordering Fin from Canada. And I would have it going to all different addresses and mailboxes. I'm using different names. And then one day I was at a party and there was cocaine. So I tried that and I was addicted immediately. And then years and years later, I was still using it. And the guy ran out of cocaine. But what did he have instead? He had methamphetamine. And so from then I was off to the races. And that's what I used until I found recovery. Where meth took me was to places that I wouldn't wish on anybody. I lost my marriage. I lost custody of my child for a short time. I lost all my friends, my house, my job, my car, everything I had, my whole world, all my self-esteem. It was a world of getting and using and getting again and using again, and that's all there was. How it felt to lose everything, my marriage and my family, I was so broken. I didn't believe in God. And it came to the point where I was in New Directions for Women, and I could not get out of bed in the morning because I was just in tears. I was so broken. I couldn't go to groups. I couldn't do anything. And I was laying in bed one night, crying myself to sleep, and my roommate pulled this picture off the wall. And she put it right in front of my face. And the picture said, one day she finally forgave herself. And I thought, no way. There's no way. I've lost everything. How could I ever forgive myself for losing my son? And it wasn't until the next morning, it was a Sunday morning, and somebody had talked about prayer in one of the groups. So I got down on my knees for the first time in my life and I prayed. I didn't believe in God before that, but I said a prayer and asked God just to get me through that one day. Just get me through this one day. Help me get to my groups and get to the places I'm supposed to go without breaking down. And He did. And so from that day forward, I prayed that prayer for probably, the next 6 months, but every day since I get on my knees and I ask God to help me through that day and, the little parts of that day. At the time, before I came into treatment, my family, I was separated from my family. They did do an intervention on me, so they hired somebody to come out and do this intervention, but I jumped out the window and I ran, and they told me, that's it, you're done. And so nobody would speak to me until I think I probably had about 60 days sober when my mother came to visit me during family group at New Directions. And then I got invited to Thanksgiving, and then I got invited to my brother's wedding, and then we got closer and closer. And my brother just came out to visit from across the country the other day, and we all had a really great family dinner. And my parents, my mom and my dad, have been a huge help in helping me with my kids and helping me get situated, helping me be responsible, because before I was so irresponsible. I couldn't pay bills or if I got a ticket, I couldn't go to court. And now they're just there to remind me, to stay on it and help me be a responsible person. It's weird. I didn't start growing up until I got into recovery. And now I can do those things that I should have learned to do years ago. But now, they help me. They retaught me how to do those things because I didn't learn how to do it the first time. I have 2 little boys, Jack and Van. Jack is my oldest. He's 8 years old now. He was 3.5 at the time when I came into New Directions. And he didn't get to come to treatment with me because my ex-husband had put a restraining order against me. So I couldn't see him until I got in and got some time under my belt. But he did come and visit. So New Directions, they organized, they went with me to court to help me get visitation. And they spoke on my behalf to the judge, and they were able to get me visitation, monitored visitation. They did the monitoring there at New Directions facility. And when I got to New Directions, they told me I was pregnant, and I didn't know. I was 3 weeks pregnant. So I got to go through my whole pregnancy in a safe place, and they made sure that, you know, I got to my doctor's appointments and that I was taken care of. And I stayed there through the whole 9 months until about a week before I had the baby, Van. He's 3.5 now. So he's the same age now as Jack was when I had to leave for treatment. So it's interesting. I get a do-over. I get to do it over. I live on the same street as my ex-husband, and so we're co-parenting really well. The kids go back and forth every 2 days. It's a pretty amazing life. It's more than I thought I would ever have, because when I was on my knees that day, I didn't think I was ever going to get anything back. I just wanted the strength to get through it. But he gave me more than I could have ever asked for. Oh, they love each other. They're so much fun. They're huggers and kissers, and you know, when they come back from dad's for not seeing me for 2 days, all they want to do is snuggle. It's so cool. My little boys, they're just little lap boys. Like you've heard of little lap dogs, they're just little lap boys. But they have so much energy. They keep me on my toes. My bottom was a sad, sad place for my oldest boy. He didn't know me. And when he would come to visit, it's like he was starting to get to know me. The other day he said something like, "Mom, remember when I didn't know you? You know, when you lived in that big house?" And he's talking about the New Directions big house. But he got to come and visit, but he says things like, "Remember when I didn't know you? And remember when they took you away from me? You know, you were there and then you were gone and I didn't see you." And that hurts my heart. It really does. The difference between now and then for him is that I'm there. Like, he feels like he didn't know me before I came into recovery, and he didn't. I mean, I wasn't present for him at all. And now I get the opportunity to, you know, wrap my arms around him every day and be in his everyday life and do homework with him and take him to haircuts, and just those little things are just such a gift. I think about my darkest moment, and one of them was getting out of jail at like 1 in the morning with 11 cents in my pocket, not knowing where I was going to go, not having anybody to call because nobody would speak to me. And then I think about now, 4.5 years later, how all the things that I've gotten since then, like I have my kids back in my life, or my kids back, you know, I have my car, I have my job, and people trust me with their kids, you know. And before I couldn't even be trusted with my own, and now I'm trusted with other people's kids. And I get to help, you know, I work in a place where there's a lot of people in recovery, and my job is to help train them. So I get people in that are new in recovery that don't know their way, and I get to show them, you know, thy will be done, and do your part, and put your bottom in the seat and your mind will follow. And all these things that I've learned in recovery, I get to share with others, and I get to help somebody else make their life a little bit easier, and easier to find some peace. So my mom is my rock. Like, she is always there. When I have little tiny worries that, you know, don't really make any rational sense, you know, I can call her and she understands. And, you know, a couple months ago I was accidentally arrested, and I could call my mom and say, "Mom, I was accidentally arrested. It was a clerical error," right? And so she was able to come down and get me out and take me to court, and she, I mean, she was the one who was there for me, when last time she wouldn't she wouldn't even answer the phone. But yeah, my mom has been my rock for this whole thing. She helps me with the boys, and my dad too. He's my stepdad, but before he wouldn't talk to me either. He said I was such a hard person. He says, "Terry, you were such a hard person to be around, but now you're really easy to be around." And you know, we go out to dinner all the time, and you know, they're Thanksgiving, we're having it at their house, and they're just my rocks, my parents, and my brothers. My message for somebody who's thinking about getting clean and sober is don't give up on yourself. You know, even if you fail, just keep coming back, keep trying. Put your bottom in the seat, and your mind will follow. When I first got there, I didn't want any part of it. When I first came to recovery and to New Directions, I didn't want any part of it. I thought, I'm going to fool these people, and I'm going to do everything they tell me, and then when I get out of here in 30 days, I'm going to go back to what I was doing. But you know, something clicked while I was in there, and those 30 days turned into 60 days, 60 turned into 90, 90 days turned into 9 months, and before you knew it, you know, all those things that they had told me to do had just kind of clicked into place. And now, you know, 4.5 years later, I still do all those things that they told me to do. I get up in the morning, I get on my knees, I make my bed, I say my, you know, read pages 60 to 64, and all the little things that they told me to do, for some reason, they stuck with me. I mean, I know that not everybody makes it on their first try, but I was lucky that I could. But people do it on their second try, their third try. Don't give up, just keep coming back. I know that New Directions, for me, they didn't just save my life, they saved Jack's mom, they saved Van's mom. You know, that's huge. That's bigger than saving my life. That's saving somebody's mom's life. My message for somebody who is a mom, who carries that guilt and shame, would be, one day you'll decide to forgive yourself.
If you or a loved one are suffering from addiction, please call our caring admissions counselors today at 1-800-93-WOMEN. That's 1-800-939-6636.